Eric, Tyler Herro's possibility for Game 2 of the series, where does that stand? And also, is it likely now that if not tomorrow, he will return at some point in the series?
The status has not changed yet. I'm trying to be elusive about that. I don't know where that report came out, that he was playing game 2. All we're focused on right now is his process, continuing, to do work and get prepared. And then whenever that timeline is where he's ready to go, I'll let you know.
And I just asked that because the day before Game 1, you said he was definitively out. So a day before Game 2, are you not saying he's definitively out?
The semantics.
Is he definitively out?
We're going to do this game by game. I'll let you know tomorrow, but the status hasn't changed, so you can read into that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Left side, fifth row.
Hey, Spo, don't want to overstate that they're giving Bam space, but there obviously is like a pocket in the middle of the floor where he has some room to operate. How does what they're doing to Bam, their coverage, differ from maybe what Milwaukee did?
Yeah, it's different than Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a little bit more 2-on-2. Staying home with the shooters is probably a little bit more like New York or maybe Chicago. But what they do very well. So you have to make reads. You can't predetermine. Cannot be a robot. We want everybody being aggressive, everybody being a live option. Obviously we want to get JB and Bam involved as much as possible. They're our two best players. We have to do it in different ways. So it's not just a steady diet of whatever that may be. And there were certain aspects of what we did the other night were very good, and then there were other areas offensively where we definitely need to improve and be more intentional.
Front right.
Eric Arnie Stapleton from Associated Press. Can you tell me what is it in your view that makes the two-man game with Jamal and Joker such a difficult challenge?
Yeah, where do you start? You have two guys that can score 50 in a playoff game. You have one guy that's a triple-double machine that loves to get guys involved. So you go down the list of myriad of things you can do defensively. You have to check off some things that you don't really want to do because of both their ability to score and Jokic's ability to create something kind of off script. But look, this is what the finals is about. I said it before Game 1. You're not playing ducks. You're not playing easy competition. You have to find a way to overcome it, even if great players are playing great. And we've proven that we can win and overcome regardless of how the game is going. An ideal situation would be if it's on our terms and we're controlling the tenor of the game. But we've also won games where we haven't been able to do that for the entire game.
Tim, standing on the left.
Tim Reynolds, AP. Eric, I know it's sometimes out of your control, but you only shot 6 free throws against Boston in Game 7, only 2 the other night in Game 1. How much of an emphasis does there have to be on getting to the line more? And is it something you can prioritize when you can't really control it one way or another?
Yeah, but the intentionality of how we want to attack and with appropriate spacing and areas where we can be more aggressive, whether that leads to free throws or not, you can't control that, but certainly the attacks, and we didn't have enough of them. I thought, the free throw disparity was appropriate. Maybe we could have gotten 2, 4, 6 more, based on a call here, a call there, but overall our attack numbers were lower, and that usually translates into lower free throw attempts.
Jason hiding in the back corner on the right.
Jason Jackson, Miami Heat Broadcasting. Spo, 2, 1 on each side of the ball. First, have you revisited anything with your shooters to maintain their let-it-fly mentality, regardless of what happened in Game 1? And then on the defensive side, even though Denver shot over 50%, having them at 104 had to be something that was positive, and where do you go from there?
At the end of the day, it still ended up in a loss. So, yes, we felt like there's some things that we could do better, defensively, but the game may be totally different in Game 2. We have to be open to the competition and do whatever is necessary. In terms of the shooters, that's pretty simple. Let it fly. Ignite. Once they see 2 go down, it can be 3, it can turn into 6, just like that. As long as we're getting those kind of clean looks, that's what matters. And then obviously we want to have a little bit more balance with our attacks and paint opportunities against a team that does a good job taking it away.
Ethan, third row over here.
Ethan Skolnick, 5 Reasons Sports. Just to follow on Jason's question there, I think you've mentioned that with shooters, you handle things differently earlier in your career than you do now. In terms of, I think you mentioned Shane. Maybe could you go through that again, sort of how your approach has changed when guys struggle?
Yeah, I continue to make so many mistakes. It wasn't Shane, it was Mike. But that's like from a century ago. I barely remember those times. But yeah, shooters need just clarity, and a great deal of confidence. And they get that from, who cares if they get it from the head coach? Yeah, the coach is telling them to shoot it. I'd rather get the volume up, and we'll play the percentages. It's, when you see a bunch of reds in a row, and yeah, I'm one of those guys. Let's double down and you're going to get a black. And those guys have proven time and time again, they're ignitable, and that's one of the things that they've learned, that you're not going to go 10 for 11 every single game. You still have a bunch of ways to impact the game. And then that symbiotic relationship between our attacks and our spacing and our shooting, that has to be more aligned. And we all love the looks that we got, but our attacks were a little bit lower. Want to find a little bit of a better balance with that. And the best thing about it is, Bam and Jimmy just infuse a ton of confidence into those guys. So they're not going to stop shooting. And that's the first hurdle, in this league. You can't get sick at sea when you miss a few. You got to double down and keep going, especially when they're open, clean looks. As far as the Mike story, I'll let you tell that another time.
Jeff, third row on your right.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today. Eric, you had mentioned running into the Denver Nuggets often inside the bubble and having conversations. I'm wondering if there's a lasting lesson that you take away from that 2020 bubble.
In pertaining to the Nuggets?
No, in general.
Oh, no, not necessarily. There's just respect, with that. Again, those were just kind of moments in between. Like, hey, how do you tie this line so I can fish? Like, those were kind of the conversations. It certainly wasn't X's and O's or schematics.
I mean, just for you personally, given the unusual circumstances that was.
Probably more than anything, it was just an incredible life experience, something that hopefully will never happen ever again in our lifetime. When we entered into that bubble, we were just as out of our element as you could probably imagine from the outside, and you just did not know how long you would be there. So there was an incredible emotional and mental challenge every single day, and I think probably our two groups had, real consistent spirit about, all right, this is different. Let's make the most of it, and we have a job to do here. But it was just an extraordinary time and experience. And when you don't know how long you're going to be there, we ended up being there 98 days, and you get touched down, the first day. You're like, all right, what is this going to be like? But they were just somebody that we'd bump into a lot.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.